right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Butting Heads. It is September 22nd, and I am finally giving you the date of the podcast. For some reason, Connor Sherman sitting in with Kevin Wilson. Kevin, it's an exciting day for hockey. What's up, my dude?
What's going on? How's everyone doing this week? How are you doing this week? Not a bad week of hockey. We got our Stanley Cup going into Game 3 tomorrow, so fun little Game 1, Game 2. We got the awards last night, so we'll talk about that, and let's get it going.
Hell yeah, we'll get right into it. I know I see that you're wearing your Yankee shirt. Why don't we stop and just mention the Yankees?
Yeah.
Did you watch the game last night?
No.
Dude,
Really.
all right. So it was awful. It was 11-6. But
Yeah.
with runners on first and third, Luke Voigt hit a shot to the third baseman, dude, and the third baseman dropped it. And if Voigt would have ran hard, he would have beat it out.
Right.
And I know that Luke, I have Luke as an MVP candidate right now. I think that it's possible for Voigt to win the MVP candidate. But Aaron Boone, he needs to say something to Luke or do something about it, because if he runs hard, a run scores, and then it's a different inning. You have to play hard to win, and it just shows with the Yankees. And I think a lot of it falls back on Aaron Boone too. I don't think that the Yankees ever should have let Girardi walk.
I mean, I didn't agree with Girardi walking, but they let him walk because they were trying to appeal to Gary Sanchez, because he didn't like him because he gave him a hard time all the time. He just wanted to be better. But
yeah, and how's that worked out for him so far?
What's up?
I said, yeah, how's that worked out for them so far?
Gary's
not even hitting 200.
Nope, a little backfire. They all like Aaron Boone, and we'll see what happens. I mean, it's a 60-game season. They're in the playoffs, so they go out and win it this year, and hopefully, soon. I'm sure he's on the timetable. So
yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, they're not going to win the division. It looks like the Rays are going to clinch the division within the next day or two. So it's They just have to rely on their pitching, and there's no days off in the postseason for baseball this year. So it's going to be a hard one. It's going to be a tough one.
These games are going to take forever, man. Literally, so many pitching changes.
Let's move right into the NHL awards. Last night or the night prior, they had the NHL awards, and there were a couple I was surprised at. I'm not going to lie to you. 24-year-old German Leon Draisaitl wins the Hart Trophy. Not really surprised by that, Kev, but I know that a close second was Artemi Panarin. Tell me about it.
I mean, I personally thought Artemi Panarin should have won, not because I'm a Ranger fan, because I'm looking at who Artemi Panarin played with all year. And he basically stayed on that second line and played with Ryan Strome and made Ryan Strome a completely better player himself. Ryan Strome was a average player at best, and then Artemi Panarin turned him into a
solid player.
The top six of his career. So, I'm just looking, and then the team, itself, like the Rangers themselves, were just lifted by his play, just completely. And you have like Draisaitl plays with like McDavid, like top 10 power play in the league, and he has all this talent around him, more talent than the Rangers, I think. I mean, McDavid's probably one of the best players we'll ever see play the game. So not that I'm upset. I wouldn't say I'm mad about Draisaitl winning. I just felt like Artemi deserved it a little bit more. Plus, that was Artemi Panarin's highest point total too in his career, and that was on a brand new team. And it was a prove-it year because he got paid so much money, and he went out and he was way better than anyone expected. So, not upset. I'm just a little disappointed that he didn't win.
Yeah, I think I would have given it to Panarin too. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, Draisaitl only played 2 more games, but he had 110 points. I mean, that is unreal. But I guess that I could even put up a decent point total if you put me next to McDavid. I mean, right?
Well, I don't want to take anything away from Draisaitl because he's really good, but
no, he's unreal.
Yeah, he's just playing with a once in a lifetime player, not taking anything away from him, but Panarin was lined up with Ryan Strome his whole season, and he made Ryan Strome into a very, very good center who's going to probably get paid not crazy money, but he's going to get paid more than what he would have gotten paid if Panarin wasn't there. That's just my thoughts on it, but Draisaitl winning, it is what it is.
Well, I mean, the Hart Trophy is for the league's MVP, and it's the most valuable player to the team, right?
Yep.
And I mean, let's put it this way: do you think Edmonton could have gotten to where they were without Leo?
Um, I don't think so, only because he scored so many goals. I mean, could they have? I'm sure, but having him on that team just puts him onto a completely another level offensively. But I do think, I mean, what they got knocked out in the qualifying round, right?
Yeah.
I mean, their problem is always going to be their defense and their goaltending. But I mean, it essentially, yeah, it helped. I would say it carried. He helped carry. I mean, him and McDavid obviously carried that team by themselves. So, and I think McDavid missed time, I believe, too this year.
Oh yeah.
I want. I forget because obviously we're in like a 5 months span here of not playing, but I he's did. I mean, he helped. I mean, he helped carry the Oilers, so I think they would be where they were at without Draisaitl.
Let me make my argument for Panarin from an outside perspective. I'm a Penguins fan, so I love to watch New York lose.
Mm-hmm.
But Draisaitl was a -7. Okay, so Draisaitl's on an unreal line, playing with arguably the best player in hockey, one of the best players that you will ever see in your life play the game, and he wins deservingly. I mean, Draisaitl's the top 10 player in the league. Whether he does or does not win this trophy, but Artemi Panarin was a +36. I mean, you have to look at the differences, between the team as well. I think that Edmonton overall was a better team than the Rangers were this year. But for
Also,
Panarin to play 69 games, he had 32 goals, 63 assists, 95 points. He was a +36.
yeah, he
That
was the
defense,
best.
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure he was the best out of the three, especially a 5-on-5 play, point wise too.
And he only took 2 minutes more in penalties than Draisaitl did. They both had
Yeah,
4 game-winning goals. Excuse me. Draisaitl had 10. Panarin had 4. I mean, that could be the difference is the clutch in Leon Draisaitl. But I just think that plus minus it's a big deal because that shows if you're a complete player or not. You have to be a complete player. You have to be able to play defense while scoring these goals. And for Panarin to be a +36 on a team like the New York Rangers, I mean, they have some good net minding in New York, but they have their defensive issues.
oh for sure, their defense was a mess for most of the year. I mean, they finally like settled in at one point, but they were letting up so many goals, and the fact that he maintained a +36 plus minus, with especially with how they were letting in goals in the beginning of the year is kind of incredible. So it just kind of shows you how good he was, like 5-on-5 and just all of that. I'm actually looking at it now. Draisaitl, like you said, -7. Even though Connor McDavid wasn't in the running for it, he was a -6, and McKinnon was only a +13. So looking at that, it's like it is what it is. But it just went off 110 points. That's all they saw and was like so the amount of goals he scored.
Can't be mad. Leo is unreal. Big congratulations to him. You know,
Yeah.
Moving forward, the Calder Trophy was also awarded. This one I want to dispute a little bit. Cale Makar from Colorado ended up winning this trophy. I would have went with Quinn Hughes.
I mean, yeah, I'm looking at it now. Quinn had 8 goals, 45 assists, and he was I think what they're looking at. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't have won because I do think Quinn Hughes should have won, especially with um because I don't want to say like Vancouver isn't as talented as it Colorado, but they definitely like Colorado head to head talent wise is just way better. But I mean, Cal McCarr came in and took over his line defensive, took over the blue line very quickly, and so did Quinn. But I think what they're looking at, because their numbers are so close, because Quinn has pretty much 2 more points than Cal. The only thing I'm noticing that would maybe put Cal over the top is Quinn was a -10 and Cal was a +12. Maybe that's what they're looking at.
Yeah,
But
and the difference in games played as well.
yeah, I mean,
It was a 9 game difference, and it was only 3 points.
Quinn had 8 goals, 45 assists, and Cal had 12 goals, 38 assists. So the point totals were Cal had 50 and Quinn had 53. So unless maybe they're looking at that, um, but I mean, I thought Quinn. I actually thought Quinn was going to win it, but Cal was he started off hot. He finished. He's always like good throughout the year. But I I don't know. I mean, I'm not mad that Cal won. Would I like to see Quinn win? Yeah, but we don't vote.
I didn't think that it was even going to be contested, if I'm being honest with you. I thought Quinn was going to win, and I didn't even think it was going to be close. And let me tell you why, Kev. It's another one of them situations as to where who helped their team the most. And I think Quinn Hughes had a bigger impact in Vancouver than McCarr did in Colorado, only because Colorado already had a better defense than Vancouver did. I think that Hughes allowed Vancouver to make it to the playoffs and be where they were. I think that Colorado would have been able to do it with or without McCarr.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from him. Again, like I said about the last trophy, kid is an unreal defenseman. He's only 21 years old. You've seen the impact that he came in and he made in the playoffs for the team last year. That kid, that kid was in the Frozen Four, and then he won the best hockey player in college, and then he went and the next week he was playing in an NHL playoff game. I mean, we know that the kid is unreal. We really do. I just thought that Quinn Hughes had a bigger impact for his team in the time given. So that's another one, though, I will not give away, and we'll congratulate Cale Makar on that one as well.
It's kind of funny. I'm looking at the defensive point leaders, and number 4 is someone I didn't even expect to be up there, and I watched them all year, and that's Tony DeAngelo. So that's kind of crazy. I didn't think he had that many points, to be honest. Just a random little.
He really helped out. I mean, more than you think. This was the best year that he's ever had in the National Hockey.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I watched him all year. I never really looked at his points, and I never really thought where
right
was in this. He was at one point every game he had an assist or something to to that aspect, a goal, an assist, something, making a nice play defensively. So number 4, I thought it was funny he got one vote for the Norris. So
did he?
Yeah, he got one vote. So that was pretty funny to see. But now I'm looking at the stats. I'm like, all right, that's pretty solid. Now you got to re-sign him. So
yeah, for real. Now you have to be able to keep him and bring him back.
Yep. So
moving forward, Ted Lindsay Award back to Leo Draisaitl. Are you surprised? I'm not.
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, that's voted on by the Player Association, I believe. So
right. Yep.
If they felt like he should have won the Ted Lindsay Award, then they obviously felt that he should have won the Ted Lindsay Award. I'm not going to dispute, I'm not going to try to argue against him winning, that award, because it's voted on by the players and the Player Association. So can't really have much to say.
We have American-born Connor Hellebuck, who won the Vezina Trophy. That was our favorite. 31 wins, 21 losses, 5 losses on OT. He had a .922 save percentage, unreal, 2.57 goals against average. He is a key player to that team, and we've seen Winnipeg struggle every year. Oh. And the only consistency I would tell you that team has had and in the last 5 years is their goaltending. And Connor's just been there for this team year after year. And it's kind of surprising that he's only a one-time All-Star.
Yeah, I mean, this was really his big breakout year. So, I mean, we said it. He literally dragged the Winnipeg Jets into the qualifying round of the playoffs in that bubble. He played, the same amount of games as Carey Price. I think it was how many? 58 games or something like that?
58 games, led the league.
58 games, and he faced the most shots in the league. And
exactly.
He was top 10 in every category, number 1 and 2.
Number 1 in shutouts.
Yeah, so 3 or 4 of those categories. So, I mean, I'm not shocked. He played on a very flawed Winnipeg team, like we talked about last episode. And, I'm happy to see him win over Vasilevsky and Tuukka Rask. So
he just beat out Tuukka too, and I mean Tuukka was unreal this year for the Bruins. This Bruins team, I thought this Bruins team was the best team in the league up until the qualifying round.
Yeah.
Roman Yossi won the Norris Trophy. That was a favorite as well. You want to go in on that one?
I was actually shocked to see that that they actually like didn't vote for the defenseman with the most points because he was number 3. But I'm very happy to see him win because he deserved it, man. His leadership and helping keep that team together when they were on that bad streak of just they were losing so many games and they got they were getting no goaltending. They were a bit of a mess. They didn't know really, they kind of looked like the Predators were like imploding. Like it was about getting ready to the point of like, are they if they get even more if they get any worse, is it time to start thinking about the rebuild? But Roman Yossi, with his leadership and his, ability just to like play the game as well as he can, just carried them to the, carried him, another guy dragged his team into the qualifying round. So I'm very happy to see that.
That's exactly what I was going to say, too. We saw how bad Nashville has been. Kev, ever since they lost the Stanley Cup Finals to the Penguins in 17, it's just been a downhill ride for them, and it hasn't been slow either. There is no brakes on that bus heading downhill. Goaltending has looked not there. Their goaltending hasn't been there since 2017. We kind of saw Pekka struggle this year. And for Roman Yossi to be a plus 22, dude played 69 games and had 65 points. I think he absolutely deserved to win the Norris Trophy. And I'm so glad that he was able to win it. And he won it at 30 years old. We've seen him pay his dues. These young defensemen who are real good and real solid, you don't see them really get put on the ballot until they're at least 25, 26.
No. So, yeah, just glad to see it. He's been in the league for a while. He's been on all those teams that the Predators made those runs where they went to the Cup and just missed out on the Cup and all that stuff. So it's nice to see him get a Norris and God forbid he doesn't win anything. At least he has that one under his belt. So
Bruce Cassidy wins the Jack Adams Award. There's really not much to comment there, is there?
No, I just I hate the Bruins. Like I don't know. I don't like the Bruins, but
the way he puts them lines together and the team that he has is unreal. Jake DeBrusk, Brad Marchand, you got Torrey Krug, who you need to be able to keep. Tuukka was up for the Vezina. You have Patrice Bergeron, who usually every year is up for the Selke. The team that Boston has is just unreal.
Yeah, personally, I would have went with John Tortorella, to be honest, because Columbus, had no right to even be where they were at in the playoffs. Like, they shouldn't even been there. Like, they were projected to be awful this year, and he took this team of just a lot of, like, no-name guys that you really never heard about, and just, they have, like, some good players. Nick Foligno's still a solid player. He's not, like, the best player, but he's a solid player. And he two goalies that were, in Versleeken and Corposello that were,
really good tandem.
You weren't really like, you didn't hear about him too much because Bob was there the year before, and he took this team and just turned. Seth Jones is like the top 5 defender now, and
Werenski too.
And for them to get as far as they did, at one point they were top 3 in the division at one point. So I would have went with Torch just to get him to that point. That's just me though.
I would have went with Barry Trotz. And only because who plays on the Islanders? You ever heard of them? We'll move in and we'll have Lou Lamoriello, who was the GM of the year, and that'll go into me wanting Barry Trotz to have been the coach of the year because the star player is Matt Barzal. They got so lucky with Varlamov and Greiss playing. Greiss has always been solid, but they got lucky with Varlamov being solid for them this year. as well. And Barry Trotz is such a defensive-minded coach that all the Islanders needed to do is go up, get ahead early, and then they play a defensive game, and they're able to retain and keep this lead. Uh, I feel like that's a hard team to take to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I know it's a regular season award, but for them to be, where they were in the division, they even led the division for some point in the year too. I mean, I think that the Metro is the best division in hockey too. For him to not get it, and for Bruce Cassidy to get it, I think is kind of a stab in the back.
I don't even think Barry was even nominated, to be honest. I think it was Elaine Vigneault was the other one. It was like Elaine, Johnny T, and Bruce Cassidy.
Well, I mean, AV has every right to be up there too, but you see the same thing from Vigneault every year. He'll come in and he'll make a program look real good, and then he won't be able to keep it up after the next 3 or 4 years.
The Flyers are going to go to Cup in a year. They'll make it. The Flyers will be in the Cup. The Flyers will be in the Stanley Cup in like 2 years. They'll lose, and then they're going to have a fall from grace after that. They'll get to the Eastern Conference Finals after that, and then they'll just keep dropping.
Yep, and then they'll just end up disappearing. Lou Lamoriello, well, him signing Varlamov was great. He ended up trading for JG Pajot, which was an unreal trade for the Islanders. I mean, that guy really got the wheels turning on them. They ended up trading a first, second, and a conditional 2022 third-round pick to Ottawa for JG Pajot, and then they acquired Jordan Schmaltz from Toronto in exchange for forward Matt Laredo as well. So there were some really good moves made by Lamoriello. Another good player, Sebastian Aho, the defenseman. He ended up recalling them from Bridgeport. But I want to go into the Islanders being kind of a joke. That's why, I mean, congratulations to Lou Lamoriello, but I'm not really too sure how he got there. It's kind of embarrassing, too. And you see it with a lot of the teams that are in the tri-state area. I mean, the Devils have done it prior, too. Moving your captain in the middle of the year, not playing your captain in the middle of the year. We saw that a couple of years ago with the New Jersey Devils and Bryce Salvador when he was their captain. That dude must have played, 12 games the year. He was the captain for the Devils. And this year with the Islanders, Anders Lee got sent down to Bridgeport. He played a lot of the season in the American Hockey League, and he even passed waivers. After they signed him to it was a 7-year, $49 million deal. I mean, the dude's making $7 million a year, and you waive him. To me, that's just kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, Lou's gonna Lou, right? I mean, he had so much success.
Yeah, Lou's gonna Lou.
All that success with the Devils, and I mean, like, who, like, I'm not like saying like so like the Anders Lee thing's pretty bad, but like, who are we to question, what he does? Like, he's so, he how many cups did he win with the Devils? 3. I mean,
dude. Now that I think about it, wasn't Lou the coach of the Devils when Bryce Salvador was the captain and didn't play at all too? I'm pretty sure that was him. He was definitely the GM in 2014. That was before Ray Shero took over.
I believe so. I'm not 100% positive, but I mean,
I definitely am.
I'm so glad that I'm not. Just to like a little snippet, I'm so glad this team's not in the Stanley Cup because how boring a Stanley Cup would be.
Awful.
How boring it would be with the way those two, the Dallas and like the Islanders play, like just defensive first hockey. It'd be like 1-0 every game.
Every game.
Islanders are a boring team.
I agree. No, they are. They're an awful team to watch, but they get the job done. And
oh yeah, I mean it's like those three double. I mean the 3 teams the Devils won with. It's the same style of play the Devils play. It's Lou's way. It's like defensive first. There's been I mean obviously I don't remember all the Devils runs and stuff because I was so younger, but just from like reading and listening to what other people said, it was just a lot of defensive first and then go score. But like that team was the Devils teams were so the defense for the Devils was out like insane. Those 3 cups. So I'm not gonna question it. The problem is the Islanders don't have like Scotty Niedermayer and Scott Stevens and all these kinds of guys. So
Yeah, they don't have those big bodies up for the Islanders though.
yeah, but I mean, it's Lou. He's gonna Lou. So
And last but not least, before we get into the Stanley Cup Finals, Kev, Sean Couturier wins the Selke Trophy with Philadelphia. That to me also came at a bit of a surprise.
I'm not gonna lie. Who else was nominated? I don't know who else. I mean, I'm not gonna question it. I mean, every time you see him, like if you watch a Flyers game, the announcers seem like they love Sean Couturier for everything that he does. So, I mean, I mean, he's been with the Flyers for like what 8 years now. Like,
And he's a plus 21.
and all people, yeah. I mean, everyone's been talking about how much better he keeps getting every year. I mean, I remember him being on when the Rangers were in like that big rivalry with the Flyers when they went to the Winter Classic and all that stuff. And then, I remember him. I think he was like his second year. Or he must have been a rookie, but he has gotten like way better. So I don't have watch enough Flyers games to watch him play defense because I know this is the best. This award's for like the guy that plays, defensively is the best defensive player as a forward. So, I mean, I guess I'm not gonna disagree. Disagree. So
I don't know, dude. Just some of the stats that stood out for me. He had 36 giveaways. He only had 40 takeaways. He only had 60 hits, and he only blocked 26 shots. But his face-off percentage was 59.7, so his face-off percentage is 60%, which is unreal. That's such a good percentage to have.
I mean, if you're in the defensive zone, that's your go-to guy, right? So
absolutely,
it's your guy you're gonna go out there over Drew. That's the guy. So that's your lockdown guy. So I mean, I feel like nowadays it's like it's kind of you really don't see like centers with like a crazy high like face-off win percentage nowadays. So for him to be at like 60% is pretty solid. I wish we had a number on his defensive face-off win percentage, but
it was Sean, it was Patrice Bergeron, as I mentioned before, and ROR dude, Ryan O'Reilly was back up there, and rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Three guys that win faceoffs every time. Time you watch those two other, Bergeron and O'Reilly play, they win faceoffs. So he must have out percentaged them in the faceoff circle.
Dude, Boston's got a player in every category, dude. But I mean, they are just all over the NHL awards.
Always.
Year after year. But let's go into the Stanley Cup Finals, games 1 and 2, and let's preview game 3. I'm so excited. I think this is a really good finals. At first, I was kind of surprised that Dallas was there. I'm not even going to lie to you, but I'm glad that they're here. I love to watch them play. I love to watch Jamie Oleksiak, the big rig. Former Penguin, so obviously he's got a place in my heart. But to watch him just go, and he's scoring goals now. He's scoring big goals for the Dallas Stars, just aside from laying them big hits. If I'm correct, Kev, he had the game-winning goal in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. You know what? I know I'm correct. He had the game-winning goal of the Stanley Cup Finals because the score was 4-1, and the second goal was scored by Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas is. I mean, 2 podcasts now. We talked about Dallas defense. Now we're going to talk about it on a 3rd podcast that they're just that good, and especially when you've got 4 guys now that are locked down, and Heiskanen, Klinberg, and Lindell, and Olensky. If I said that right, I'm very bad with names. Their defense is, and they're all meshing together, and they're all going to be there for so long that they're going to be a problem for whoever versus them. Even seasons from now. I'm just game 1 was like it seemed like Tampa was tired. You
have to remember Dallas had the extra day's rest in comparison to Tampa.
It almost felt like when Tampa dismantled the Islanders at game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, but obviously not like 8-2. It was 4-1, but in that game too, the Lightning did outshoot, the Dallas. I believe it was the second period, 22-2, and you can't say anything more than Hobby Hudobin is absolutely insane.
Unreal.
Like, I don't remember a playoff goalie performance like out of the blue in the past like couple of years. Like I almost said Happy Bullen. Hudobin has been in these playoffs.
It's real cool too for him to be the goalie this year and for them to make it as far as they did. Because I don't know if you remember Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals last year, where Ben Bishop was absolutely unreal against the St. Louis Blues,
Mm-hmm.
and then they ended up putting one past them in what, double overtime, I think it was, that game went to. I mean, for Ben Bishop to be that good of a goalie in that series, and then to lose his job to Kudobin, and for him to be that good to take them to the Stanley Cup Finals, to me, I mean, that's really just something special. But you saw them outwork Tampa Bay in Game 1, but Game 2 rolls around and they give up 2 power play goals late in the first period, 3 total, and then they were able to hold Tampa to 3 goals for the whole game. So after the first period, they didn't let up anything after that. And you have to obviously credit Kudobin. You have to credit the defense to that. And Dallas almost came back. I mean, you saw that goal go offsides in the second period, and that was clearly offsides. But that was the last good chance that I would tell you that Tampa Bay really had.
Yeah, I mean, Tampa came out to play game 2, and they showed that in the first period. But it felt like the rest of the game, Tampa Bay got very complacent. And I want to say they actually, I mean, they did outshoot the Stars. I think it was like 31-28. But
Dallas came back in shots though.
yeah, no, Dallas was leading in shots at one point. So I mean, the Tampa Bay in that second period definitely got outworked, even though they got out of it in the second period with that 3-1 lead. It could have easily been like 3-2 going into the third. Um, I think that's what we're going to be looking at the rest of the series is that Tampa needs to come out. They need to score early, and they need to score as many goals as possible because it's almost nearly impossible to do it against this team and that goalie right now. So they got to make it ugly. They just got to keep throwing things at the net. Um, and I think they can't get complacent. They gotta like essentially outwork Dallas. They gotta be more mean than Dallas. Like we're seeing in these first 2 games, Jamie Benn running over people left and right. Um, so they just can't be complacent. They really can't. That's where I think Tampa gets in trouble a lot. Is they get these leads sometimes and they just kind of they stop playing almost like they just
Sit
like
back.
it's like they're sitting back and that they're not a team that's made to sit back. They need to go forward at all times. So I
I,
think that's
I
something to look out for in the next couple of games.
I do want to credit though John Cooper. I don't know if you noticed this last night, Kev, but Cooper went with 6 defensemen instead of 7, and actually had 12 forwards last night. He did put Carter Verghege in the lineup, and I actually had the pleasure to watch Verghege play against the Charlotte Checkers
Mm-hmm.
last year and the year prior. And I mean, that kid is an unreal talent. His ability to see the open ice and put goals in the back of the net and get pucks on net, and his ability to make plays, I think, it really will help Tampa. And even if he's not getting as much ice time right now, in the next couple of years to come, I think he's going to be a real big playmaker for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And another thing that we have to mention too is that they have a secret weapon that it's possible that Tampa brings out in the Stanley Cup Finals. We haven't seen Steven Stamkos, but he was questionable for Game 2, ended up not playing. Can we see Stamkos in Game 3? Do we see Stamkos in Game 4?
I think we're going to see Stamkos in Game 4, not Game 3, but absolutely. I mean, you add him, it's a whole new ball game. I mean, you're just adding a stud, obviously a superstar. The only issue would be obviously how is he going to be, right out of the gate, especially in a Stanley Cup final where like everyone's got their legs under him. He's obviously not going to have his legs under him right away, but it's another element that you add to the Tampa Bay offense that's already a wagon in itself, and it's going to be interesting to see how they utilize him, where they put him, what line do they put him with. I bet you they probably put him on a line with like Killorn or something, just like a guy that's going to be out there to protect him, because Dallas is going to take runs at him, like they're
Oh
going to
yeah.
immediately try to knock him off his game. So they're going to, Dallas is going to test him, so it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think he'll play the next game, but I think Game 4 we'll see him, and I also think that this series will be going till next Wednesday. I think we're going to see a 7-game Stanley Cup final, just because of the play style.
Absolutely. Dallas has them big bodies, and their defensive ability to score is something that we've stressed. And honestly, it's just true. It's a big part of the reason that Dallas is even in the Stanley Cup Finals. But it's been such a nitty-gritty series, watching the referees pull players off of each other. Klingberg is always in it. Kucherov is in it. You see Victor Hedman in it. What do you like most about the Stanley Cup Finals so far, and what do you like about each team that you've seen so
far? What I like most is probably the physicality. It's very, very, very physical. Sometimes in Stanley Cups, it gets a little – because you don't want to take that penalty, so it's like, sometimes teams won't get super physical, but, these first 2 games, I think we'll see less of it as the series goes on, especially when one of these teams goes down 2-1, because that was one of the key things Pavelski talked about, was they can't take as many penalties as they did, especially against the power play of Tampa. So, but my favorite thing right now is the physicality. I'm liking the scrums. I like Hedman's getting involved. Corey Perry's a rat, so not shocked that he's in the middle of all of it. But yeah, I'm excited. Just the physicality and I mean, both sides, we're seeing, very, 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 I'm trying to put in, like, words that, like, sophisticated, but we won't. The offense for both teams, I mean, we haven't really talked about it too much with Dallas because their defense has been scoring so much, but offensively, like, when Dallas wants to play with their forwards, like, they're pretty nice. Like, they're a pretty solid team, forward-wise, too, even though they really haven't been doing anything, which is kind of scary to see because of how much their defense has been scoring. But it's almost like Game 2 was almost like how they came out in Game 2, Dallas did, in against Vegas, and Vegas, like, blew their doors off. And then everyone was like, oh, Vegas has this, they're going to go and win the next 3. All of a sudden, they're losing games like 2-1, 3-1. So
I was one of them people.
Tampa, I think Tampa's is definitely way more talented than Vegas, but I'm interested to see these. I think these next 2 games are gonna, tell us a lot more about what's gonna happen as the series goes on. I think if a team does go up 3-1, I think it's over immediately. But I don't see. I see it just back and forth every game. So
Joe Pavelski is going to be a big factor in the Dallas Stars offense too. I mean, the guy was unreal in San Jose. The dude can win faceoffs, and his hand-eye coordination in front of the net. That guy can deflect the puck from anywhere on the ice, literally anywhere on the ice, and have it, go into the goal. He was one of the goal scorers for Dallas on Monday night, and then he had assists from Klingberg and Radulov. Radulov and actually Klingberg had assists on both goals. They both had primary and secondary assists on the first and second goals of the Dallas Stars. So Dallas really needs to get it moving and have everybody start putting points up. They're really starting to rely heavily on that defense, but the forwards really need to step up. You saw Tyler Seguin have a couple of good opportunities and not be able to convert. And the same thing with Jamie Benn. You saw that Jamie Benn have some opportunities last night that he didn't convert on an open net too. And you really have to take advantage of that, because when do you have a lot of open space when Vasilevsky's in net?
Yeah. I mean, it's like the same thing. It's like Dallas has to score. Because Dallas, no team can afford to get into a shootout with Tampa, because Tampa will win every time. Especially because I do think, obviously, Vasilevsky's better than Hudobin. But, yeah, Dallas, same thing. Dallas has to score and just lock down and just play mean. It's a very cliche. Like, it's the same thing for both teams. But with the way both those teams play, it's like, it's kind of how you got to do it, it's not like, it's not like Tampa can like out talent them, I feel like, because that's Dallas is that good defensively. So it's I don't know.
Whoever's
It's
going to
interesting.
work harder and play
I
harder.
feel yeah. With how this like playoffs has developed, this is probably the matchup everyone wanted to see. Because I mean, for as a Lightning too, this is the probably the biggest and fastest team they faced all year. I mean, Boston's a pretty big team, but they're not as fast as Dallas is. So it's these
And
first two
that's where
games.
Dallas has the advantage too, is because this whole series is going to wear them down. And if you're Tampa Bay, you have to think how lucky you are actually playing a team like this in the Stanley Cups and not in the conference finals because of how big and how bad this team is. And bad, I mean, in a sense of they're going to grind you down, they're going to hit you, and they're going to wear you out completely.
Absolutely. So excited these next couple games. I believe what next game's Wednesday, and they're actually playing games 4 and 5 are back to back nights actually, which was surprised to see. So Friday, Saturday, it looks like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then Monday, and then next Wednesday. So when we record next Wednesday, you know, or next Tuesday, I think we'll see. You know, I think we'll see a. I think we're going to see a game 7. So we might be doing a little game 7 preview next episode, and then we got plenty of stuff to talk about for next episode with free agency, the draft, and things of that nature. So, you know,
Do
another
you
little.
remember? Do you remember any of the games going back to back in the Stanley Cup Finals? I
No,
mean, I know. Go ahead.
just like the bubble aspect. You're not traveling, so it's like that's probably why. Because I want to say who would be the home team at that point? It would be who's the home team the first two? Tampa.
Uh, ta- uh, Dallas was home team for the first game. Lightning for the second. Dallas for the third. Lightning. So they alternate.
Flip flopping every game. I mean, yeah, I'm not shocked because of the travel aspect. Um, it also
Oh,
seems
I
like
lied. I lied. I was looking. I'm sorry. I was looking further. I was looking at 5, 6, and 7. Tampa for the first two, and then Dallas for the second two. My apologies.
yeah. So game 5 would be that Saturday. So I mean, no travel. Also, I think they're trying to avoid the Sunday showdown with the NFL. um, Even though it would be obviously them versus it'd be that Stanley Cup final versus the Sunday night game, but um they also obviously they want to get a game on national television on Channel 4. So we'll see probably Friday and Saturday on Channel 4. But I think that's why is the no travel and avoiding the NFL on Sunday.
I think they're really trying to wrap it up before October too, because Game 7 would be the last day in September, and we have the draft early in October, so I think it'll give time for everybody to settle and the GMs and coaches to go over who could be the next best pick.
Yeah, so we got the draft. So we got the draft October 6th and 7th, and then free agency begins the 9th.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we can do a little like instant reaction episode, like right after the draft or something, the first round. Not like the whole first round, but the first,
First
you know,
couple picks.
yeah, something to that extent. We could do something like that, maybe get the blood flowing.
Tell everybody what you plan the Rangers to do with Alex.
What's up?
I said you could tell everybody what you want the Rangers to do with Alex.
I just want Alex to score 100 points.
Last thing I got for you is if Tampa Bay wins, Braden Point has to win the Conn Smythe Trophy, and if Dallas wins, it has to be Heiskanen.
I mean, yeah, it's hard. The only argument would be Kucherov has the same amount of points now as Point, but Braden Point's had a little bit more memorable, you know, goals in these playoffs than Kuch has. But yeah, I mean, if Dallas wins, then yeah, it's got to go to Heiskanen. I mean, he's carried that. He's been one of the 4 defensemen carrying this team, and the amount of time he gets and plays, it's kind of insane. So yeah, Heiskanen and probably Braden Point. So
All right, well, we'll wrap this up, episode 3 up of Butting Heads, actually. So we want to thank everybody who is going to listen, everybody who has listened. Thank you for coming back. Kev, I appreciate your time, and let's go Yankees.
go Yankees.